I work front desk at a hotel in Copenhagen. An American guest checked in at 11 p.m., exhausted from his flight. He asked what time our complimentary breakfast started. I said 6. He stared at me like I'd suggested he wrestle a bear before coffee. 6. In the morning? He rubbed his eyes. That's the middle of the night, I explained. Danes start their day early. Most people are at work by 7:30 or 8. He shook his head slowly. That's inhuman. In America, civilized breakfast starts at 9. Some places do 10 on weekends. He looked genuinely concerned for us. You guys need to unionize or something. The next morning at 9:15, he came down in his pajamas. Breakfast had ended at 10. He stood there holding his empty coffee mug, looking betrayed. This is why Europe's economy is struggling, he muttered. We're the happiest country on earth. But sure, a cafe owner in Rome told me an American asked why their espresso cups were so tiny. When he explained it was a single shot. She said in Starbucks, a small is 12 ounces. He said this wasn't Starbucks. She replied, obviously, your cups are defective. A gym in Berlin had an American confused why there were no treadmills facing TVs. How do people work out without watching something? The trainer said they listen to music. That's not enough stimulation. These stories aren't new. Let's talk about the American lifestyle habits that exhaust the rest of us. I managed a beach resort in Thailand. An American couple arrived for their relaxation week. Day 1, the husband asked about our business center hours. I said we didn't have one. He blinked. No business center? How do people work? I explained people came here to not work. He laughed like I'd made a joke. Right, but seriously? Wi-Fi in the rooms? I confirmed we had Wi-Fi. Perfect. I'll just work from there. His wife looked tired already. By day 3, he'd taken calls during their couple's massage. The masseuse asked him to stop. He said, "This is a working vacation," she said. "This is Thailand," he said. "I'm on New York time. On checkout." He left a review praising our Wi-Fi, but criticizing our lack of workplace amenities. He wrote, "Beautiful location, but not suitable for professionals." That was the entire point. A restaurant host in Paris watched an American family eat dinner in 12 minutes. They ordered 8, paid, and left before their wine had breathed. When he asked if something was wrong, the father said, "No. Why? We're done." The host gestured at their barely touched wine, the empty bread basket they'd ignored, the dessert menu they'd never opened. But the meal. The father checked his watch. "We have tickets to a show at 8. It's 7:53. The host said their reservation had been for 6:30. Exactly. That's over 2 hours ago. They'd scheduled 17 activities for their 4-day Paris trip. The host saw their itinerary on the table. Monday. Louvre 1 hour. Eiffel Tower 45 minutes. Notre Dame 30 minutes. Latin Quarter 1 hour. Dinner 30 minutes. River cruise 1 hour. Every day was like that. "When do you rest?" the host asked. The father looked confused. "That's what the flight home is for." They left. The host stood there holding their full wine bottle. I drove a taxi in Amsterdam. An American tourist asked why I wasn't going faster. I explained the speed limit. He said American taxis go faster. I said this wasn't America. It's going to be losing money going this slow. Time is money. I told him I made the same per kilometer regardless of speed. He looked shocked. "You get paid by distance, not time? That's insane. You have no incentive to hurry." I said hurrying meant accidents. He said accidents were just part of doing business. In New York, cabbies hustle. That's why the city works. I pointed out the window at people biking, walking, sitting in cafes at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. Does this look like it's not working? He went quiet for a moment. Then, everyone here seems lazy. We have better work-life balance, lower stress, and higher happiness ratings. But sure, lazy. I worked at a grocery store in Norway. An American woman asked where the family-size cereal boxers were. I showed her our largest size, 500 grams. She held it like I'd handed her a toy. "This is it? This is maybe 3 bowls." Said it was meant to last one person a week or 2. She laughed. "A week? We go through a box every 2 days. You need to stock real sizes." I explained this was our real size. She shook her head. "I'll take 6 then. Do you have a cart?" I pointed to our small hand baskets. "No, like a real shopping cart. A big one." I showed her our largest cart. She looked insulted. "Are you kidding? My purse is bigger than this." She bought 6 boxes, a week's worth of other groceries, and complained she couldn't fit it all in the basket. When I suggested 2 trips, she said that's inefficient. She left grumbling about European portion sizes, forcing people to shop more often. Shopping more often meant fresher food, but that wasn't the point to her. A car rental agent in Germany rented a sedan to an American man. He walked around it twice, looking disappointed. "Don't you have anything bigger? Like an SUV?" The agent said they had a small SUV available. He asked what qualified as small. 5 seats. Compact frame. "That's not an SUV. That's a car with ideas." He wanted a Suburban or Escalade. The agent said those didn't exist in their fleet. European streets were too narrow. Streets are narrow because your cars are small. If you had real cars, you'd build real streets. The agent said the streets were 400 years old. So update them. He took the sedan. Spent the whole week complaining it was cramped. He was traveling alone. At checkout, he asked if they could order American SUVs for future customers. There's clearly demand. Agent said he was their only customer who'd ever asked. That's because everyone else settled. I managed a coffee shop in Sweden. An American ordered a large coffee. I handed him 400 milliliters. He looked at the cup like I'd given him a shot glass. "This is large?" I said yes. He asked what medium was. 350 milliliters. He asked for small. 300 milliliters. "So your large is barely bigger than your small?" I explained the differences were proportional. He said in America, large meant large, like 20 ounces. This is maybe 12. Confirmed it was about 13 ounces. Tiny, he asked if we could just fill a large American-sized cup if he brought one. I said our machines dispense specific amounts. He said he'd pay for 2 larges. Just fill 1 big cup. Explained that wasn't how it worked. He said he was trying to give me money. "You're making this difficult." I said I was following our system. "Your system is broken." Took his 400 milliliters coffee and left. Came back the next day with a thermos. Asked me to fill it. Wait. I said no. He said I was being unreasonable. I'm a paying customer. "Customer's always right." Said that's an American phrase. Because Americans understand service. I worked security at a museum in Prague. An American family arrived at 4:45 p.m. We closed at 5 o'clock. The father asked how long they needed to see everything. I said at least 2 hours. He checked his watch. "We've got 15 minutes. We'll make it work." I explained they couldn't see the museum in 15 minutes. He said they'd move fast. We did the Louvre in an hour 20. "This place is smaller," said the Louvre needed a full day minimum. He waved that away. "If you keep moving, you can do anything." I sold them tickets because I had to. Watched them speed walk through 6 centuries of art, taking photos without looking, checking things off a list. The kids looked miserable. At 4:58, they finished. The father looked triumphant. "See, told you we'd make it." I asked if they'd enjoyed it. He said, "Enjoyed what?" "The art, the history." He looked confused. "We saw it. That's the point, right?" I asked what their favorite piece was. He scrolled through his phone photos. "This one was cool," he said, showing me a blurry image of a Gothic altarpiece. "What is it?" I told him. "Yeah, that makes sense." He had no idea what I'd said. They left. I stood in the empty gallery. A janitor walked past, saw my face. "Americans." I nodded. He sighed. "They always run." I asked why he thought that was. He shrugged. "Maybe they're afraid if they stop, they'll realize they're exhausted." That stuck with me. Maybe that's it. The constant motion isn't about seeing more or doing more. It's about not stopping long enough to feel how tired you really are. I've met thousands of American tourists, the ones who slow down, who take their time, who let themselves rest. They're always the happiest. The ones who sprint through Europe like it's a competition, they leave more exhausted than they arrived. Maybe the problem isn't that the world's too slow. Maybe it's that we've convinced ourselves rest is weakness. If you've got your own stories about the exhausting pace of American travel, drop them below. And if you're American and you've learned to slow down, tell me how you did it. Because honestly, watching you guys run is making me tired too.